All right, welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're taking a deep dive into the world of construction law.
Oh, yeah.
And I am excited about this one because
This is going to be fun.
it is. Okay, so we've got a pretty hefty task ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
This is going to be helping you guys write a 4,000-word essay
Wow.
at the university level
That's a big one.
on the legal and statutory requirements in construction.
No small feat.
Not a small feat at all, but the good news is you have sent in some absolutely fantastic material
You have indeed.
to work with. So
That's half the battle.
it is.
Oh,
It
it
is. So we've got the L4HNC workbook, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
We've got some stuff on the Localism Act,
Very important.
the latest National Planning Policy Framework, and even a deep dive into the Town and Country Planning Act.
Wow, that's comprehensive.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations on even gathering all of this information.
Absolutely. That's a great starting point.
Because let me tell you something, understanding the law is key to a successful project.
100%.
Whether you're building a skyscraper or just, thinking about extending your house.
Oh, yeah. It can get complicated quickly.
It can. And, the Town and Country Planning Act cases just really highlight that.
Oh, they're fascinating, aren't they?
They are.
Full of real-life drama.
Yeah, you've got billionaires clashing with neighbors over mega mansions in Hampstead.
It's like a soap opera, but for planning permission.
I know. And rock legends battling pop stars over renovations in Holland Park.
High stakes.
It's amazing.
It really highlights that construction law is about people.
Yes.
Their ambitions, their dreams, and sometimes their very strong opinions
Yes.
about what gets built around them.
Totally. So to navigate these complexities,
Yeah,
we need to understand both the letter of the law and its practical application.
exactly. It's not just about what the law says, it's about how it's applied in the real world.
So that's what we're going to do in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're going to equip you with that knowledge.
Okay, let's get started.
Focusing on the UK construction landscape, because that's where
That's our focus.
these materials are from.
All right.
Okay, let's unpack this beast, starting with planning permission.
The infamous planning permission.
I know, right? So you've got this hypothetical double garage project you're using as an example,
Yeah, that's a good one.
which is perfect.
It's relatable.
It is. But even before we get to your garage,
Right.
the UK system is
Yeah.
a bit layered, to say the least.
That's one way to put it.
Parish councils, town councils, neighborhood plans.
So many layers.
The Localism Act really gave local communities a lot of power in shaping development, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was a real shift towards localism, giving communities a bigger say in what happens in their area.
Yeah, so those local voices are crucial.
Absolutely vital.
They have to operate within the framework set by national policy, though.
Right, there's a balance to be struck.
So that brings us to the National Planning Policy Framework,
The NPPF,
otherwise known as the NPPF,
as it's affectionately known.
which is all about sustainable development.
The big buzzword.
It is. But here's where it gets interesting.
Oh.
Those three pillars of sustainable development, economic, social, and environmental, they often create tension.
Yeah, they can be in conflict with each other, can't they?
It's like a triangle where you can't fully maximize one side without impacting the others.
A delicate balancing act.
So it's not as simple as like build, baby, build,
Right.
or save every tree.
No easy answers.
Yeah.
Every project involves trade-offs.
Yeah.
And understanding how those tensions play out is key
Okay.
to crafting a nuanced argument.
That's going in the essay.
Absolutely. That kind of analysis shows real depth.
Nuance.
Yeah.
Okay, so the L4HNC workbook breaks down the different types of development.
Right. It gets into the nitty-gritty.
Residential, commercial, infrastructure.
The building blocks of the built environment.
Literally.
Yeah.
But even within those categories, there are so many variables.
Oh, yeah. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
No, and this is where permitted development comes in.
Ah, the loophole everyone hopes for.
Right. So your double garage might fall into this category,
It might. It depends on the specifics.
allowing you to bypass the full planning permission process.
That's the dream.
I know.
Streamlining those smaller projects.
Exact.
Permitted development is meant to make life easier for those minor works.
Yeah.
Loft conversions, small extensions, those are usually straightforward. There's always a but.
There's always a but.
The boundaries can be blurry.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you're converting a garage into a home office.
Right. Standard.
Seems simple.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you're in a conservation area
Oh, yeah.
or your property is listed,
Rules change.
the game changes completely.
So permitted development isn't always a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Definitely not. It's not a free-for-all.
Okay, so back to the L4HNC workbook.
Your trusty guide.
Because it has a whole section on what can trigger the need for full planning permission, even for seemingly minor projects.
It's essential reading
It is. It is.
for anyone even thinking about building work.
All right, so let's say worst case scenario.
Okay, here we go.
Your double garage dreams
Oh,
get hit with a planning permission refusal.
the dreaded refusal.
What then?
That's where the drama really starts.
I know, right? And the Town and Country Planning Act cases,
Oh, yeah.
they make it clear that just building anyway
Bad idea.
is not the answer.
Not a good look.
No. So don't do that.
Don't even think about it.
So what do you do?
You need to understand the appeals process.
Right, the appeals process.
That's your next move.
Okay.
Both the L4H&C workbook and the NPPF outline this.
Okay.
You have a right to appeal a refusal,
Okay.
but
But.
here it comes, so does the public. If they disagree with a decision,
Oh, wow.
it can get very interesting.
So it's not just you appealing.
No, it's a two-way street.
Wow.
Things can get really strategic here.
Okay.
Say your double garage impacts a heritage asset,
Right.
even indirectly.
Okay.
That could be grounds for a challenge.
Oh, what?
It's all about understanding the nuances of the system.
So knowing how to navigate the appeals process
Yes.
and what arguments hold weight is almost as important as understanding the initial planning permission requirements.
Absolutely. It's about seeing the bigger picture.
Okay, so we've tackled planning permission,
One hurdle down.
but before you even think about laying a brick,
Hold your horses.
there's another hurdle,
A big one.
building regulations.
Now we're getting serious.
This is where things get serious for them.
Absolutely. This is about making sure your project isn't just pretty.
Right.
It's safe, it's structurally sound, it meets all the standards.
Okay, so how do we know what those standards are?
Well, the UK takes this seriously, offering two paths.
Okay.
Working with local authority building control
Okay.
or using approved inspectors.
All right, so two paths.
Two routes to the same destination.
Okay.
Making sure your project meets the standards.
Okay.
And those standards, they're all laid out in these detailed approved documents.
Right, the approved document,
You'll find them in the L4H&C workbook.
of course.
They're your blueprints for building safely and responsibly.
Okay, and these regulations, they cover a lot of ground, right?
Oh, they're comprehensive.
From fire safety,
Absolutely.
crucial,
Energy efficient
big topic these days.
to accessibility.
Got to make sure everyone can use the building.
And even sound insulation.
Can't forget about the noise.
I know.
It all matters.
And the specific requirements can vary dramatically based on the type of project.
Oh yeah, every project is unique.
Okay.
A low-rise residential building like your double garage,
Right.
it's going to have different fire safety needs
Compared to,
compared to, say, a medium-rise apartment building
okay, right.
with multiple escape routes and maybe even sprinkler systems.
Right. Totally different.
The scale changes everything.
And speaking of fire safety,
A somber but important topic.
the L4HNC workbook uses the Grenfell Tower tragedy
Yeah, a stark reminder.
as a reminder of what can happen when those regulations aren't met or are inadequately enforced. It really brings it home.
It does.
This isn't just theoretical paperwork, it's about protecting lives.
Yeah, it really makes you realize that this isn't just theoretical paperwork, it's about protecting lives.
Absolutely. Those regulations have real-world consequences.
Okay, so we've got planning permission, we've got building regulations.
Down.
Now let's shift gears.
To what happens once construction is actually underway?
Right, on-site safety.
The action starts.
The UK has a reputation for stringent safety regulations.
We do. Safety's paramount.
And it's easy to see why when you look at the L4HNC workbook.
It's all laid out there.
We've got the Health and Safety at Work Act, CDM regulations.
A whole legal safety net.
So many regulations.
All designed to keep people safe.
So what's the key takeaway here?
Proactivity.
Proactivity.
It's not just about reacting to accidents.
Right.
It's about preventing them in the first place.
Got it.
That's where risk assessments and method statements come in.
Okay, so explain those a bit more.
You've got to meticulously document every step. Identify potential hazards
Right.
and outline how you'll mitigate those risks.
So it's like a choreographed dance of safety,
I like that analogy.
where everyone on site knows their part and the potential dangers involved.
Exactly, everyone's on the same page.
And the L4HNC workbook has some great examples.
Real-world scenarios.
It highlights that the most common accidents on construction sites aren't dramatic crane collapses.
No, it's often the less dramatic things that catch people out.
What is it then?
Slips, trips, and falls.
Really?
Yeah, the everyday hazards.
Huh. That's surprising. But it makes sense.
It does.
It highlights the importance of those seemingly mundane safety precautions.
The things we can sometimes take for granted.
Like
Keeping walkways clear, using proper signage, wearing the right PPE.
those little things make a big difference.
Absolutely. They can be the difference between a safe site and a dangerous one.
And for the essay, you could even explore the tension between those everyday safety measures
Right.
and the pressures of deadlines and budgets.
Ah, the eternal struggle.
How do construction companies ensure safety without sacrificing efficiency?
That's the million-dollar question.
It's like a constant balancing act.
It is weighing competing priorities.
And demonstrating that awareness in your writing will really showcase a deeper understanding of the industry's challenges.
Absolutely shows you're thinking critically.
Okay, before we move on,
Yes.
one more crucial element of on-site safety. Insurance.
The safety net,
Public liability, employer's liability,
essential coverage.
these are must-haves.
No question about it.
Construction's inherently risky.
It comes with the territory.
And having adequate coverage is crucial for protecting both you and your workers.
It's peace of mind, knowing you're covered if something goes wrong.
It's like that extra layer of protection.
Exactly. It's about mitigating those risks.
All right, ready for the final stretch of our legal marathon.
Bring it on. Land law and contracts, here we come.
This is the often overlooked but absolutely essential foundation of any construction project.
It's the bedrock. It's where it all begins.
And your L4HNC workbook is a treasure trove of information on this topic.
It's a gold mine.
Because I have a feeling this is where things can get a bit tricky for the uninitiated.
Oh yeah, it can be a minefield.
We're talking about freehold, leasehold, easements, covenants.
All the fun legal jargon.
It's enough to make your head spin.
It can be overwhelming.
Don't worry, we'll break it down.
One step at a time.
Let's start with the basics.
Back to fundamentals.
In the UK, you have two main types of land ownership.
Right, the big two.
Freehold, where you own the land and building outright,
You're the king of your castle,
and leasehold.
where you're essentially renting the property for a long period.
Right, like a really long-term rental.
Exactly, but with its own set of rules.
Understanding the difference between these two is crucial.
Fundamental stuff.
And then we have easements and covenants.
Ah, yes, the legal twists and turns.
Are those as intimidating as they sound?
Not really, once you get your head around them.
Okay, give us an example.
Imagine you're building your double garage, but the only access to your property is through a shared driveway,
Right, shared with a neighbor.
owned by your neighbor.
Oh,
That's where an easement comes in.
okay.
It gives you the legal right to use that driveway.
So you're not blocked off.
Exactly, you have a right of way.
Okay, what about covenants?
Covenants are restrictions on land use,
Restrictions.
like a
on-
rule book attached to your property.
Okay, give me an example.
Maybe a covenant restricting the height of buildings in a neighborhood.
Right, to preserve those views.
Exactly, keeping things harmonious.
Or maybe
Maybe.
a covenant prohibiting you from running a business from your home.
Ah, that could throw a wrench in your plans.
Yeah, suddenly that home office conversion in the double garage might not be so straightforward.
Nope. Covenants can be very specific.
It's like a legal puzzle.
It is.
Yeah.
Piecing together all the rules and restrictions.
Figuring out all the hidden restrictions and rights that come with a piece of land.
And that's why understanding land law is so important in construction.
Right.
It can impact everything. From planning permission,
Right.
design choices,
Yeah.
to the overall value and usability of a property.
So it affects everything.
It's woven into the fabric of the industry.
Okay, all right. Before we get too lost in the legal weaves,
So let's bring it back down to earth.
let's bring it back to our hypothetical double garage.
Your dream project.
One more piece of legislation we need to cover.
Hit me with it.
The Party Wall Act.
Ah, the Neighborly Relations Act.
This one sounds particularly intriguing.
It can be a bit of a minefield.
Almost like a neighborly drama waiting to happen.
Oh, it definitely can be.
So tell me more.
The Party Wall Act is all about managing those tricky situations.
Okay.
When your construction project involves shared structures.
Like a wall you share with your neighbor.
Bingo! That's the classic scenario.
So let's say I want to build my amazing double garage,
Go for it.
but it's right up against the boundary line.
Oh. Party Wall Act territory.
So that means it kicks in.
It kicks in, right?
Absolutely. It sets out specific procedures.
Notifying your neighbor.
Right.
Obtaining their consent.
Oh.
And even involving party wall surveyors.
Really?
Yeah, to assess the potential impact on their property.
So it's all about ensuring transparency,
Open communication.
fairness,
Absolutely.
and hopefully avoiding those neighborly disputes.
Nobody wants a fence war.
It sounds like a delicate legal dance.
It can be. Balancing everyone's rights and interests.
Balancing your right to build
Right.
with your neighbor's right to enjoy their property undisturbed?
Finding that sweet spot.
So much to think about.
It's all connected.
I'm starting to see how even a seemingly simple project like a double garage
Yeah.
can become a microcosm of the entire construction industry,
It's a great example.
with all its legal complexities, practical challenges.
And potential for both conflict and collaboration.
This is fascinating.
It is, isn't it? Construction law is about so much more than just rules.
What is it about then?
It's about understanding how those rules shape the built environment, impact people's lives, and ultimately influence the future of our cities and communities.
And that, my friends, is what makes it so fascinating.
Exactly. It's about the bigger picture.
Well, this has been an incredible overview,
Just scratching the surface.
laying the groundwork.
For a deep dive into your essay topic,
Hold on to your hard hats, folks, because we've only just begun.
we're just getting started.
We'll be back soon to dig even deeper into those source materials and uncover the hidden gems that will help you craft a truly outstanding essay.
Get ready to dive deeper. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about how you can transform all this information
Yeah,
into a stellar 4,000-word essay.
go.
Remember, a university-level essay isn't just about summarizing what you've read.
Right.
It's about demonstrating critical thinking,
Okay.
analyzing different perspectives,
Right.
and crafting a compelling argument.
So it's not enough to just regurgitate the different types of planning permission
Oh.
or building regulations.
You got to go deeper than that.
They need to actually think about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of those regulations as puzzle pieces.
Kyle?
Your job is to show how they fit together,
Right.
how they impact real-world projects,
Yeah.
and maybe even where the puzzle is missing a piece or two.
Ooh, thought-provoking.
That's what we're aiming for.
Okay, so how can I approach this strategically?
Strategy is key.
We've covered a ton of ground already.
Yeah.
From planning permission to land law.
A whirlwind tour.
Where do I even begin to structure this essay?
Well, a strong introduction is key.
Okay.
Think of it as setting the stage for your legal drama.
Okay, setting the stage.
You want to clearly outline your main argument.
Right, my main thesis.
What are you trying to prove or disprove about the legal and statutory requirements in construction?
Okay, so what's my point?
Exactly.
What am I arguing?
And then briefly introduce the key points you'll be exploring.
Okay, so like a roadmap for the essay.
Exactly, like a blueprint for your legal skyscraper of knowledge.
I love that analogy.
It's all about structure.
Okay.
And then
well,
each of those key points
yeah,
becomes a separate section in your essay.
right, breaking it down.
Start each section with a clear topic sentence
Okay.
that summarizes the main point.
So like a mini introduction for each section.
Exactly. For example, you could have a section on the complexities of permitted development,
Right.
another on the importance of risk assessments in on-site safety,
Okay, yeah.
and so on.
So each section gets its own focus.
Building your argument brick by brick.
And I'm guessing specific examples will be crucial here.
Absolutely.
Like actually applying those legal concepts to real-world scenarios.
Show, don't tell.
Right, make it concrete.
And your hypothetical double garage is the perfect case study.
It is. It's coming in handy.
Walk your reader through the entire process, from
Okay.
applying for planning permission
Right.
to navigating building regulations
Okay.
and ensuring on-site safety.
So it's like bringing those abstract legal concepts to life.
Exactly.
Showing how they actually play out in a tangible project.
Making it real for the reader.
And since my essay is about UK construction law,
Right.
using a UK-based example makes perfect sense.
It keeps it relevant and focused.
Okay, I like that.
And don't be afraid to draw comparisons.
Okay,
You could contrast the regulations for your double garage
yeah.
with those for a larger project,
Oh,
like
sure.
a skyscraper or a public infrastructure project.
All right, different scales, different rules.
Yep.
So I'm showing that I understand the nuances of construction law
The subtle differences.
and how its application can vary depending on the scale and complexity of the project.
Demonstrating that deeper understanding.
Okay, so I'm not just throwing facts at the reader.
Nope.
I'm weaving them into a compelling narrative.
Tell the story of your double garage.
That showcases my understanding of how these legal frameworks operate in practice.
It's all about application.
Okay, got it.
And remember, citations are your best friend.
Oh yeah, I gotta cite those sources.
Every time you use information from a source, cite it properly.
Okay, so footnotes, endnotes, bibliography, all that jazz.
It's not just about giving credit where it's due.
Right.
It also strengthens your arguments
How so?
by showing that you've done your research.
Ah, so it adds credibility.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of research, I bet there are some hidden gems in those materials that we haven't even touched on yet.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Things that could add a little extra sparkle to my essay.
Give it that extra edge.
Right, make it stand out.
For instance, the L4HNC workbook delves into the history of land ownership in the UK.
Oh, wow, going way back.
It even mentions this fascinating tidbit about the Anglo-Saxons and their land tax called Danegeld.
Danegeld, what's that?
It was basically a tax they paid to Viking raiders to avoid being attacked.
Wow, that's hardcore.
It's a glimpse into the history of land ownership and how it's evolved over time.
So I'm guessing that historical context could add a really interesting dimension to my essay.
It could definitely enrich your analysis.
Okay, I'm liking this.
It shows you understand the evolution of these legal concepts.
Right, the bigger picture.
And how they've shaped the modern construction landscape.
Okay, so connecting the past to the present.
Exactly.
And don't forget to connect those historical examples to current practices.
Bring it full circle.
The Town and Country Planning Act is a perfect example.
A classic piece of legislation.
You could trace its evolution from the first consolidation in 1962
Right.
to the current 1990 Act.
Highlighting the key amendments and changes along the way.
And those amendments are probably a treasure trove of legal battles and controversies.
Well, I'm sure there's some juicy stories in there.
So it's like adding some drama to my essay,
Keep the reader engaged.
showing that I understand the real-world implications of these legal changes.
It's all about impact.
Okay, so we've got history, we've got examples. What else?
Well, you can also delve into the criticisms of the planning system.
Oh, yeah, there are always criticisms.
Some argue it's too slow and restrictive for developers.
Right, the red.
While others say it's too quick and permissive for opponents of development.
So it's a balancing act.
Finding that middle ground is never easy.
And this is where my critical thinking skills come in.
Yeah.
Analyzing those different perspectives.
Showcasing your ability to weigh competing arguments.
So I'm aiming for a well-balanced, nuanced analysis
That's the goal.
that considers all sides of the argument.
No easy answers or black and white solutions.
Right, embracing the complexity.
Construction law is all about navigating those gray areas.
Okay, the gray areas.
Weighing competing interests.
Okay,
And finding solutions that work for everyone.
or at least as many people as possible.
It's about compromise and finding common ground.
Okay, that makes sense.
And as you're writing, think about your audience.
You're like my professor.
Remember, you're writing for a university professor who expects a certain level of academic rigor
Okay,
and sophisticated analysis.
so no dumbing things down or oversimplifying complex concepts.
No, you need to show you can handle the complexity.
But I also don't want to get bogged down in jargon or overly complex legal language.
Right. You need to find that balance.
So finding that sweet spot where I'm demonstrating my knowledge,
Yes.
but also keeping my reader engaged and interested.
Clarity and precision.
Okay, that's the challenge.
Just a tightrope walk.
Between legal expertise and clarity of expression.
You got it.
A challenge, but definitely achievable with the right approach.
Practice makes perfect.
Okay, I'm feeling more confident already.
And don't forget to proofread your work carefully.
Oh yeah, gotta catch those typos.
A polished, well-written essay will make a much better impression than one riddled with errors.
Right, it shows attention to detail.
It shows you take pride in your work and respect your reader's time.
Okay, so we've covered structure, evidence, analysis.
The building blocks of a good essay.
That's the secret ingredient
The secret sauce.
for a truly outstanding essay.
What will make it stand out from the stack of papers on your professor's desk?
I'm ready for the secret.
It's the so what factor.
The so what's factor.
Why should your reader care about all of this?
Right, why does it matter?
What are the real-world implications of construction law?
Beyond just passing an exam.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is where I connect those legal concepts to the bigger picture,
You got it.
like societal well-being, economic growth, environmental sustainability,
All the big issues.
showing how construction law impacts the world around us.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm basically elevating this essay beyond just a legal analysis.
You're taking it to the next level.
I'm making it a commentary on the very fabric of our society.
Now you're thinking like a true scholar.
I like the sound of that.
And that's how you turn a good essay into a great one.
By showing that I understand the broader significance of my topic
Yes,
and its relevance to the world around us.
you've got it.
Okay, I'm feeling much more confident about tackling this essay now.
That's what we like to hear.
We've covered planning permission, building regulations, on-site safety, land law, and contracts.
The essential elements.
And I've even got some killer tips on structuring my arguments.
the framework for success.
Incorporating evidence
Backing up your claims.
and crafting a compelling narrative.
Telling a story that captivates the reader. But remember, this deep dive is just a starting point.
Right, it's a foundation.
There's a whole universe of knowledge out there waiting to be explored.
Okay, so what should I explore next?
What better way to explore it than through the Journals of Planning and Environment Law, or the Encyclopedia of Planning?
Those sound intense.
They're treasure troves of information.
Okay, so my intellectual treasure maps
Exactly.
leading me to even more in-depth analysis.
The nitty-gritty details.
Legal precedents.
The case law that shapes the field.
And fascinating case studies.
Real-world examples that bring the law to life.
Okay, I'm ready to dive in.
And don't be afraid to challenge assumptions. Question established practices.
Right. Think critically.
And even propose your own solutions.
So it's not just about absorbing information.
It's about engaging with it.
It's about being an active participant in shaping the future of construction law.
That's the spirit.
Who knows, maybe one day I'll be writing those laws.
Never know.
Or arguing those cases in court.
That's a great goal to have.
It is. It is.
And with the knowledge and insights you're gaining, you're well on your way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this.
It's been a pleasure.
This has been incredibly helpful.
I'm glad to hear it.
I feel like I have a much better grasp on how to approach this essay now.
That's the goal.
And I'm excited to dive into those additional resources.
Keep exploring, keep learning.
And really make this essay shine.
I have no doubt you will.
Okay, so we've talked about planning permission, building regs, safety on site, land law, contracts, the whole shebang.
We've covered a lot of ground.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I feel like there's one more piece of the puzzle missing.
Oh.
What's that? The future of construction law.
Yes, looking ahead.
This field is constantly evolving, right?
Absolutely, it's never static.
Driven by new technologies,
Always changing.
changing societal values,
Our priorities shift.
and the ever-present need to balance development with sustainability.
The big challenge of our time.
So, for example, the L4HNC workbook mentions this concept called right of light,
Right of light, interesting one.
where neighboring buildings can actually have legal rights
They do.
to the sunlight
To the sunlight that reaches their property.
that reaches their property. It sounds wild.
It can get complicated.
So if I build my double garage too high,
Oh.
I could be blocking my neighbor's sunlight
Potentially, yeah.
and end up in a legal battle.
It's a real consideration, especially in dense urban areas.
It's amazing how established legal principles are being applied to new challenges in urban development.
A law has to adapt.
As cities become denser and buildings taller,
Reaching for the sky?
access to natural light becomes a valuable commodity.
Absolutely, it's a precious resource.
And the law is evolving to protect those rights.
Right of light is a key part of that.
So are there other emerging trends that could influence the future of this field?
Oh, there are always new developments on the horizon.
Like what?
Well, think about the rise of prefabricated construction,
Okay, prefab.
modular buildings,
Right.
and 3D printing.
Wow, 3D printing buildings.
It's becoming a reality.
That's incredible.
These technologies have the potential to revolutionize the industry,
Disrupting the traditional methods.
but they also raise new legal questions
Oh, of course.
about building codes,
Right.
safety standards,
Okay.
and intellectual property rights.
It's like every technological advancement opens up a new frontier in construction law.
A whole new set of challenges and opportunities.
Exciting, but also a bit daunting.
It's a dynamic field, that's for sure.
So for my essay, exploring these emerging trends
Yeah,
could demonstrate a forward-thinking approach
absolutely. It shows you're looking ahead.
and a willingness to engage with the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
That's what we want to see. Critical engagement with the future of the field.
Okay, I'm inspired.
Good. That's the goal.
So what advice would you give to someone aspiring to work in this field?
Good question.
What skills and knowledge are essential for success?
Well, a strong foundation in law is obviously crucial.
Makes sense.
But beyond that, I'd say critical thinking,
Okay.
problem solving,
Right.
and excellent communication skills.
Communication is key.
You need to be able to analyze complex situations,
So much to think about.
identify potential risks and liabilities,
Okay.
and communicate your findings clearly and persuasively
Yeah.
to clients, colleagues, and even judges,
So it's not just about knowing the law. It's
Yeah.
about applying it.
and being able to explain it to others.
It sounds like a career that demands both intellectual rigor and a strong sense of practicality.
You hit the nail on the head.
A balance of head and hands.
And it's also a field that offers incredible variety.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
You could specialize in planning law,
Oh,
construction contracts,
right.
environmental law, or even international construction disputes.
Wow, so many options.
There's a niche for every interest and passion.
Well, this deep dive has been an incredible journey.
It has been a whirlwind tour.
We've explored the history, the theory, the practical applications,
The nuts and bolts of construction law,
the ethical consideration,
the human impact,
and even the future of construction law.
looking ahead to what's next.
And we've done it all through the lens of a simple double garage,
Your trusty case study.
demonstrating how even the smallest project can connect to the larger world of law and society.
It's all connected.
It's amazing how much knowledge and insight we've uncovered from just a handful of source materials.
Those materials were a springboard for our exploration.
It's like those materials were just the seeds, and we've helped them grow into a whole forest of understanding.
A beautiful analogy.
And the best part is, this is just the beginning.
The journey of learning never ends.
There's so much more to explore.
So much more to discover.
So many more questions to ask.
Keep asking those questions.
So many more connections to make.
The possibilities are endless.
I'm already feeling inspired to dig deeper into those journals of planning and environment law and the Encyclopedia of Planning.
Excellent resources.
Who knows what other treasures I'll find.
You're on the right track.
The journey of learning is never truly over.
A lifelong pursuit.
And there's always more to discover, more to question, and more to build.
That's the beauty of it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of construction law.
It's been a pleasure.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep building.
And good luck with that essay.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.